In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 NBA games happening on March 1st, 2025, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 NBA games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Washington Wizards versus Charlotte Hornets. 2 Southeast Division rivals are set to face off on the hardwood in Buzz City this Saturday evening as the Washington Wizards take on the Charlotte Hornets. Both teams are looking to bounce back from recent losses and will aim to secure a divisional win in what promises to be an intriguing matchup. The Wizards are coming off a tough 129-121 loss at home to the Portland Trail Blazers on Wednesday night. Despite being 6-point underdogs, they failed to cover the spread. Meanwhile, the Hornets fell short in a 103-96 road loss to the Dallas Mavericks on Thursday night. Charlotte managed to cover the spread as 10-point underdogs, but the loss extended their struggles. Historically, the Hornets hold a slight edge in the regular season series with a 71-64 record. However, the Wizards have dominated recent matchups, winning the last 4 games, including a 124-114 victory in their most recent meeting on February 3rd. In terms of injuries, the Wizards will be without Jordan Poole, and Alex Sarr is listed as questionable. On the other hand, the Hornets are expected to field the same squad, though LaMelo Ball remains sidelined despite not appearing on the injury report. Both teams have been plagued by injuries and questionable roster decisions this season, which has contributed to their struggles. Washington will be missing their leading scorer, while Charlotte could be without 3 of their top 5 players if Ball doesn't play. The Hornets rank as the 3rd worst scoring offense in the league, while the Wizards hold the dubious distinction of having the worst scoring defense. Washington has won all 3 matchups this season, extending their streak to 4 consecutive wins and 7 victories in the last 10 meetings. Additionally, the Wizards have covered the spread in 7 of their last 8 games against Charlotte, making them a more reliable bet in this matchup. The Hornets have managed to secure 9 of their 14 wins at home this season, and they'll likely be motivated to perform well in their first home game in 3 weeks. While Charlotte might be favored in this contest, it's hard to get excited about backing either team given their poor performances this season. The Wizards, however, have covered the spread in 7 of their last 10 games, making them a potentially profitable pick if you time it right. Ultimately, this is a matchup between 2 of the NBA's weakest teams. As our first pick for this matchup, the Washington Wizards to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Offensively, the Wizards have shown some improvement recently, averaging 115 points per game over their last 10 contests. This is 6.5 points higher than their season average, and they've scored an average of 120 points in their 3 games against Charlotte this season. Washington also ranks 4th in the league in tempo, averaging 101.4 possessions per game. In contrast, the Hornets have struggled mightily on offense, averaging just 97 points per game over their last 10 outings. This marks an 8-point decline from their season average, and they've been held to 97 points or fewer in 6 of those games. Charlotte ranks 22nd in tempo, averaging 97.7 possessions per game. In the 3 meetings between these teams this season, the over has hit twice, with an average combined score of 233 points. The under has been a common trend for the Hornets this season, hitting in 35 of their 59 games. It's also gone 6-4 in their last 10 contests heading into Saturday. For the Wizards, the under has hit in 4 of their last 7 games, with Washington's offensive injuries forcing adjustments to their rotation. This game could turn into a low-scoring, grinded-out affair. Charlotte's slow pace, ranking 21st in tempo, will likely contribute to fewer possessions and a slower game flow. Given the injury concerns on both sides and Charlotte's offensive struggles, this game has all the makings of a low-scoring matchup. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Brooklyn Nets versus Detroit Pistons. On Saturday, the Detroit Pistons will welcome the Brooklyn Nets to Little Caesars Arena for what promises to be an intriguing NBA matchup. This game marks the third meeting between these Eastern Conference rivals this season. So far, the Pistons have come out on top in both previous encounters. However, when looking at the last 10 matchups, the Nets hold a 6-4 advantage straight up, though they've struggled against the spread, going just 2-8 against the spread. Interestingly, the over has hit in 8 of those 10 games, suggesting a trend toward higher scoring contests. Injury concerns continue to plague both teams. The Nets will once again be without D'Angelo Russell and Darek Whitehead, while the Pistons are still missing Jaden Ivey. Brooklyn's recent form has been shaky, and their performance in a blowout loss to the Trail Blazers last night did little to inspire confidence. On the other hand, the Pistons had been playing some of their best basketball of the season before running into a red-hot Denver Nuggets team last night. Despite that setback, Detroit has shown flashes of brilliance, particularly with Malik Beasley making a significant impact off the bench. Beasley has been a key contributor for the Pistons, providing a spark in limited minutes. In Wednesday's game, he led all scorers and drained the most three-pointers despite playing just 22 minutes. This season, Beasley has scored 25 or more points in 7 games and has hit 6 or more threes in 15 outings, showcasing his ability to change the game in a hurry. The Pistons' poor showing against the Nuggets last night was disappointing, but I expect them to bounce back in this one. The Nets are simply too depleted to keep up with a relatively healthy Pistons squad that was firing on all cylinders before last night's hiccup. Home court advantage often plays a significant role, especially when the visiting team is on the second night of a back-to-back. Add in the fact that the Pistons are playing their best basketball in years, and it's hard to see Brooklyn keeping pace. The Nets seem to be in a downward spiral, and one has to wonder if they're more focused on securing a higher draft pick than making a push for the play-in tournament. Detroit has dominated the Nets this season, winning both matchups by an average of 14.5 points. Over their last 10 games, the Pistons are 8-2 both straight up and against the spread. With the team riding this kind of momentum, it's tough to bet against them. Even if the starters struggle, Beasley has proven he can come off the bench and swing the game in Detroit's favor. As our first pick for this matchup, the Detroit Pistons to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The under has hit in both previous meetings between the Nets and Pistons this season. This trend aligns with Brooklyn's overall tendencies, as the under is 23-14 in their games against Eastern Conference opponents and 8-2 when they play on no rest. As mentioned earlier, the Nets have adjusted to playing without Cam Thomas, with head coach Jordi Fernandez emphasizing a slower, more controlled tempo. This approach has become a hallmark of their style, and I expect them to stick to it in this game, especially with their leading scorer unlikely to play heavy minutes on consecutive nights. Brooklyn currently plays at the slowest pace in the NBA, averaging just 96.1 possessions per 48 minutes. Meanwhile, the Pistons might struggle offensively after facing a top-tier opponent like the Nuggets last night, which could further contribute to a lower-scoring game. The Nets' deliberate style of play, combined with their back-to-back schedule, sets the stage for a grinded-out game. 2 nights ago, they made a season-high 23 three-pointers in a loss to the Thunder, but replicating that performance in Detroit seems unlikely. The Pistons have made significant strides on defense this season, ranking 11th in defensive rating, a notable improvement from last year when they were among the league's worst. This defensive improvement, paired with Brooklyn's tendency to slow the game down, makes the under an appealing option. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. San Antonio Spurs versus Memphis Grizzlies. The Memphis Grizzlies are set to face off against the San Antonio Spurs in a Western Conference matchup this Saturday night at the FedEx Forum. This game comes at a critical time for both teams, with the Spurs desperately trying to keep their playoff hopes alive. However, a 4-game losing streak has made their path even tougher. On the other hand, the Grizzlies have quietly been one of the stronger teams in the conference, sitting comfortably in second place in the standings. Memphis has already beaten San Antonio in all 3 of their meetings this season and will look to complete a season sweep with a win here. San Antonio continues to deal with significant injuries, as both Victor Wembanyama and Charles Bassey remain sidelined. The Grizzlies are also missing G.G. Jackson, but their depth has allowed them to stay competitive. In the 3 games these teams have played so far this season, Memphis has come out on top each time, winning by at least 14 points in every contest. The Spurs' frontcourt struggles have been a major issue, especially without Wembanyama, who is a game-changer on both ends of the floor. Meanwhile, the Grizzlies' frontcourt, led by Jaren Jackson Jr., has been a clear strength. Memphis has had the upper hand in this matchup for several seasons now, and that trend doesn't seem likely to change. Memphis should have no trouble scoring against a Spurs defense that has been vulnerable, especially without Wembanyama's presence. San Antonio's offense hasn't been much better, ranking among the league's worst this season. The Grizzlies have been one of the best teams against the spread this year, posting a 35-22-1 record, which is the second best mark in the NBA. They've also been strong as home favorites, going 16-9 in those situations. Coming off a tough loss to the Knicks last night, Memphis will be eager to bounce back. The Spurs, on the other hand, have been struggling mightily, losing 7 of their last 10 games and covering the spread in just 2 of those contests. Memphis has dominated San Antonio in their recent matchups, winning by 19 points last month and by 28 points back in January. The winner has covered the spread in 6 of the last 7 games between these two teams. While the Spurs will undoubtedly want to avoid being swept by the Grizzlies this season, they simply don't have the talent or firepower to keep up with Memphis. The Grizzlies, despite being on a back-to-back and not playing their best basketball lately, should be motivated to get back on track with a convincing win at home. San Antonio's current form makes it difficult to see them pulling off an upset here. As our first pick for this matchup, the Memphis Grizzlies to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Memphis boasts one of the most potent offenses in the league, and while their defense can be leaky at times, their ability to score in bunches should help push this game over the projected total. The Grizzlies have hit the over in 36 of their 58 games this season, the second best mark in the NBA. San Antonio, meanwhile, has been more balanced, going 29-29 on the over-under. Memphis plays at the fastest pace in the league, while the Spurs rank 11th in pace, so this game should feature plenty of up and down action. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.